today we are going to focus just on Arabica and Robusta, the main ones. So the family is Rubiacea, the genre is Coffea, and then we have species like Arabica, Canephora, Liberica, between others. So let's talk about them. Arabica comes from Ethiopia. On the other hand, Robusta comes from Congo. When we talk about this one, we say that it's like the stronger sister. Why? Here we get more level of caffeine, between 1.7% and 3.5% of caffeine. So here we have bitter flavors in coffee. On the other hand, in Arabica, we just got between 0.8 and 1.5% of caffeine. So here we have milder, sweeter coffees. So let's talk about plantation. We plant the beans, the seeds, in river sand. Why in river sand? Because in that way it's going to be easier for maintaining the humidity that is necessary in the germination process. 10 days later, after the mash sticks, we are having this little plant. And here is called chapola. Why chapola? As you know, Colombia has a wide variety of butterflies, and one of these butterflies are called chapolas. So it looks like the wings of that butterfly. We call them like that. Okay. So here this chapola is ready to be transplanted in individual plastic bags with soil. Here they need enough nutrients, enough components to grow up. And 6 months later, we are having a colino. It's gonna be between 30-40 centimeters long. And here is ready to be transplanted again in the place that is going to be the rest of his life. So how do we do that process? Like this. We plant the colinos like in lines. We leave 1 meter of distance between each tree and 2 meters of distance between each line. And those, let's say, pathways are called surcos. So here the coffee pickers, they walk and they do the picking process in the harvest season. Guys, we planted the colinos here, and 18 months later, we are having an adult plant like that one. And here comes the first blooming season. So this is the flower. It's called azahar. It smells like jasmine, and it only lasts 3 days. So it's born, life is beautiful, third day, it dies. It's hermaphrodite. It means that it doesn't need any pollinators. So here in every place that we see the flower, the azahar, about 9 months later, that's like a pregnancy cycle, we are getting the coffee fruits. But here they are not ready to be picked. They need to be ripe, completely red or completely yellow. In the harvest season, the coffee pickers, so they pick all of them. They put it in the plastic basket that I show you. As you can see, we can mix them, okay, yellow and red. Then they put all the production into a bag, and at the end of the day, they weigh to know how many kilos do they got. Because here in Colombia, they get paid per kilo. So guys, let's gonna summarize. We got 2 years for the coffee tree to grow up and be an adult plant. And then we got 5 years of production. First year, the harvest is not so good. Second year, it improves a little bit, it's quite better. Third year is the best one. Here I'm talking about quantity, no quality. Quality remains the same. In the fourth year, the harvest decreases a little bit. And in the fifth one, let's say that's the worst one. Okay? So what do we do in the fifth year of production? We do a process that is called soca. We chop it down. In that way, we let the coffee tree to grow up again, and we improve production. And we do this process twice. So it's gonna be something like this. 2 years, 5 years of production, first soca. 2 years, 5 years, second soca, 2 years, 5 years. If we do math, the lifespan of a coffee tree might be between 20 and 21 years. After that time, we take out the plant, including the roots. We say, okay, thank you very much, it was a pleasure, and we plant another one. Guys, unfortunately, we got some enemies in the coffee plantation. The first one is called roya, or coffee rust. This is a fungus that is gonna be on the underside of the leaves. It's gonna be like this, like a small yellow spots. Then all the leaves in the tree are going to start falling down. So if it doesn't have leaves, it means that it cannot do the process of photosynthesis. And if we don't have photosynthesis in the plant, we just lose the production. In the 70s and 80s, it was a big crisis here in Colombia because of that fungus. So almost 90% of the Colombian production was lost. In a lab called Cafe, they created a hybrid, a mix between a variety from Robusta and a variety from Arabica. And that new variety is called Colombia's variety. And that one is more resistant to this fungus. The second enemy is called broca, or drill. That's a tiny insect that gets into the coffee fruit, lay its eggs inside, and then the larvae start eating the beans. Guys, do you think that we use that coffee, those berries? No, I hope no. Yes, we do. That's gonna be second grade quality or pasilla. In coffee, we got first grade quality and second grade. Okay. Unfortunately, most of that coffee remains here in the country, and it's gonna be the cheapest coffee that you can find in the supermarkets because the first grade quality is mostly exported. Of course, we don't eat larvae or bugs. In the process of washing, drying, roasting, they die, they disappear. But the flavor changed a lot. It's not a good taste in that coffee. Okay. Guys, now I need you to please pick from your baskets the best coffee fruit. Okay, choose one. Now we are gonna plant those beans here, and you can throw the shells away because that's gonna be compost. So here we have the chapolas. Then we transplant the chapolas in individual plastic bags. 6 months later, we are having this colino. Okay. So here is ready to be transplanted again in the place that is gonna be the rest of his life. 18 months later, we have an adult plant. Guys, so now we are going back. Please keep your coffee fruits. We are gonna use them. Okay. All the coffee fruits inside this machine. Okay. This is the coffee peeling machine. It was invented by a German guy in Nicaragua in 1891. This machine is gonna remove the shells out of the beans. How does it work? I move this wheel clockwise, just like this. So who wants to try? Volunteer? Okay. So guys, the coffee pickers, they come to this area every day, and here they weigh the production to know how many kilos they got. Then they put all the coffee fruits inside that black tank. That tank is gonna be full of water. So the ones that float are gonna be second grade quality. Why? Because they lost density. Remember, some larvae ate part of the beans, they got some holes, so they float. And the ones that remain at the bottom, first grade quality. That's just the first selection process, and it's called floating by density. Guys, in coffee we have different processes in fermentation, drying, and each one is gonna highlight different flavors, different notes. Guys, so do you think that we use this machine? We got 500, 600 kilograms of coffee fruits? No, we use this one. So after the floating by density, they put all the coffee fruits here, and downstairs I'm gonna show you the rest of the machine. Basically it's the same system, but it's an electrical one. Okay, this is for lavado or full wash process. So that part removes the shells, and then this cylinder, it rotates and using water washes the beans, so it removes the mucilage. The shells go there, and outside we have like a big mountain of them. Then we use them as compost, as I was telling you. This is for honey process. So here we just remove the shells, but we don't wash the beans. In this part, we are going to have a tube that is going to be connected here, and the beans get transported to that part. So there we have like a swimming pool, and that's the second floating by density. Again, the beans that float, second grade quality. Guys, we removed the shells, then we washed the coffee. Now it's time for drying. Okay, dry. So we have to dry coffee. Guys, here we have the silo. This is like an oven that we use for the drying process, but we just use it as a support in some special cases, because the traditional way of drying coffee here in Colombia is the sunlight, using the sunlight in a place that is called marquesina, like a greenhouse. The coffee, and we let it dry between 13 to 15 days. That depends obviously on weather conditions. So let's get inside and see which process can we find here. after the drying process, we have to remove the cisco, okay, the shells. That's the next step. So this is pasilla or second grade quality. As you can see, the almonds, the beans, they are broken, blackish, okay? Sometimes they got some holes. That's the pasilla. Then we have lavado or full wash. Remember, this is the one that is most common here in Colombia. Honey, the one that we just saw in the marquesinas, okay? Honey process, so sweeter flavors like caramel, nuts. Natural process, we also saw it there, okay? Dried with the shells, intense notes of red wine. Passion 300, remember the one that was fermented 300 hours, then dried with the mucilage as well. This process is special because it was created here in this place, so you're not finding Passion 300 somewhere else. Pea berry, the almonds, they are smaller compared to a regular one. We have to separate, okay, a regular almond from pea berry. Remember, here we got more caffeine, concentrated flavors. Just 5% of the full harvest might be pea berry. Raw coffee or green almonds. This is the way that we export coffee, and then every country roasted according to their likes. Some of them use high, medium, or light roastings. We used this tool for removing cisco. This is called pilon in Spanish, and it was something like this. But as you can see, this is a rudimentary way to do it, and I can break the almonds by doing this. So nowadays we use this machine, this technology that uses vibrations. It shakes. So here we have two different processes. They put all the beans here, and this section, this part of the machine removes the cisco. Cisco goes here to that blue bag, and the almonds, they pass through the different holes. Those are the bags that we use for sending coffee, 60 kilograms each one. So this is the roasting machine with a capacity of 12 kilograms. So a person puts the almonds there at the top, and that machine is going to be preheated with a temperature of 180 degrees Celsius. But guys, the almonds, the coffee is in room temperature. So here we have a thermical shock. Temperature decreases until 110 degrees Celsius, and then it's going to start increasing again along the process. Between minute 0 and 5, coffee loses humidity. Then between minute 5 and 7, we have the Maillard reaction. Here, coffee change of color. It is green at the beginning, then it's going to be yellow, and finally brown, the characteristic color of coffee. Then between minute 7 and 10, coffee loses more humidity. It's going to be between 3–2% of humidity, and we wait for the first crack. So coffee is going to sound like popcorn, okay, like pop, pop. So when we listen that coffee is doing that sound, like popping, we know that it's ready. Here we use and we recommend a medium roasting. I mean, no more than 10 or 11 minutes. In that way, we can highlight all the flavors. Sweetness, bitterness, sourness. We got balance. So for pasilla or second grade quality, most of the companies use a high roasting. In that way, they can hide or cover all the bad flavors that you don't want to taste in a cup of coffee. So when coffee is ready, they let it cool down some minutes, and then it's time for the final selection. A person is gonna take by hand all the almonds that were not roasted enough or that don't have the best quality. They package the coffee, and it's ready to be sold. So the first one is about roasting. Which one do I recommend you? Medium, exactly. We got balance in flavors. Then we got grinds. So we got coarse, medium, and fine. And Italian mocha, you may use medium or fine grinds. V60 and Chemex, those are drippers. You may use medium or coarse. And then we have AeroPress. This is kind of new method. It was invented in 2005 in USA. It's made of plastic, so it's practical. If you go camping, you can take it with you. And here you can use the 3 grinds. And here we have Japanese siphon. Have you seen that method before? It's like being in a lab. It's kind of fancy, but basically it's the same system as in the Italian mocha. The only difference is that here you can see the whole process because it's made of glass. I need a volunteer that is gonna grind coffee here in this machine. But first, cheers, salud, santé, prost, l'chaim, chin chin. Just, okay. Salute.